This is a re-upload of the Golovkin versus Lemieux post-fight. I had some type of audio malfunction in the last video that I did. I was up pretty late uploading the video and I went straight to sleep. Didn't check it like I usually do. And when I checked it this morning, it was some type of loud-ass distortion to where you couldn't hear anything. So with that being said, I really appreciate my supporters because it took a lot of loyalty to try to listen to that video the way that audio was. I mean, if I would have heard something like that, I probably would have stopped the video right away. But you guys hung in there, so good looking out. Anyway, all I had to do was refresh my computer, and once I did that, the audio was perfect. So here it is, check it out.
Hi, I'm Bobby Dean, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? First things first, I want to say congratulations to Gennady Golovkin. He scores another knockout, TKO victory over David Lemieux. I believe it was in the 8th round. The fight played out the exact way I thought it would play out. Now, some of you guys may ask the question, Dante, how is it possible that Gennady Golovkin, he says he loves quote-unquote Mexican style, but when he fights against an aggressive fighter who's going to meet him right in the center of the ring and throw bombs, this is when Gennady Golovkin, he decides he's not going to fight Mexican style, and in fact fight Muhammad Ali style. Well, guys, I can answer that question. In fact, I answered the question in my previous breakdown videos. I did 2 breakdown prediction videos on this fight, and I told you guys, even though he uses that moniker, Mexican style, Golovkin is going to box in this fight. I said in my breakdown prediction video, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Golovkin floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. Why? Because Golovkin, deep down, he's not really Mexican style in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, for him to even say that, I understand that, yeah, he's saying that because he wants to cater to the Mexican fan base, and we all know that the Mexican fan base is probably the biggest fan base in the sport of boxing, at least one of them, right? So that's smart. You know, marketing wise, that's smart. But the truth is, Golovkin is a boxer puncher. Or, like my friend said tonight, a puncher boxer. I watched the fight with my friend James Smith, aka Smitty from In This Corner, and we had a serious conversation going on about Gennady Golovkin throughout this fight. But I'll get into that later. So anyway, if you guys watch the fight, then I think you guys can all agree with me that Golovkin was more of a technician tonight. I told you guys in my breakdown video that Golovkin, he has an excellent jab. And I think he's going to rely on that jab the entire night until he sets him up and catches Lemieux with something, and then he'll go in for the kill and knock him out. Like I told you guys in my breakdown video, Golovkin is going to box in this fight. One more time, he's going to rely on his jab. And I said in that video, it's nothing wrong with doing that. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go in there and use your damn brain. And because Golovkin was using his brain, he put on a boxing exhibition. Golovkin did a good job of showing his versatility tonight. Now, of course, if Gennady Golovkin was on a coincidental list, these fans would be saying that Golovkin, he fought a safety first type fight. He's not willing to take risk because all he does is throw a jab and then move out the way, etc., etc. But since he's not on the coincidental list, a lot of people from the media and of course the decafs, they're going to say that this was a beautiful boxing exhibition. Look at the great jab. Look at the foot movement he's using. The ring generalship. etc., etc. And you know what? I agree with the people who say that. The only problem I have is the fact that these same people who praise Golovkin for his great boxing IQ, they don't give the fighters on the coincidental list that same kind of credit when they show intelligence in the ring. That's where the problem lies, right? So anyway, I was very impressed with Gennady Golovkin's boxing skills, okay? One thing I will say is David Lemieux, he definitely made it easy as hell for Gennady Golovkin today. Because as far as I'm concerned, David Lemieux, he looked like the most clueless boxer I've ever seen in the ring. At least one of them. I don't know if it was just fear or a serious lack of intelligence. But David Lemieux is already shorter than Gennady Golovkin. And Golovkin is doing the smart thing by playing the role of the boxer, keeping his distance, controlling the distance with his jab, right? Now, to me, it's only common sense that David Lemieux, he has to close the distance. He has to apply pressure. If you're throwing hooks, short punches like that, you have to be very close to Gennady Golovkin, right? I'm sitting over here, I'm watching the first round, and I'm just shaking my head. I couldn't believe it. Because David Lemieux was sitting over here throwing hooks a mile away from Gennady Golovkin. I mean, he's like way out of range to even come close to land a hook, right? And then it was times where he would throw lead right hands and he would be so far away from Golovkin, they looked like straight air balls. Once again, I don't know if he was doing this out of fear or if it was just a serious lack of intelligence. This man didn't have a clue what to do in the ring with Gennady Golovkin. David Lemieux made Willie Monroe look like Andre Ward. Okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. I had predicted this was going to be an extremely easy fight for Gennady Golovkin. But I just did not expect Lemieux to be so damn clueless. Because once again, I'm watching the first round and I start talking to people in the room. Within the first minute of the first round, I say, oh, this is not a good sign for Lemieux, because he's sitting way on the outside like he's the boxer, just begging Golovkin to feed him jabs all night. And that's exactly what Golovkin did. He obliged his ass. I mean, he just seemed completely clueless throughout the fight. And then the times that he would get hurt, he wouldn't try to tie up. He had no type of defense at all. He was just a complete sitting duck. But I will give Lemieux credit for probably the 3 or 4 shots that he did land on Golovkin. Now, and I have to go back and watch the fight again because, like I said, we were doing a lot of talking as we were watching. But I believe close to the end of the fight, right before it was stopped, maybe in the same round or the round before, one of the only clean shots that Lemieux landed in the entire fight, it was a flush left hook, and it looked like it slightly hurt Gennady Golovkin. See, usually, guys, we see Gennady Golovkin on the inside, throwing 4 or 5 punch combinations. Usually when power punchers fight against other power punchers, it usually alters the way they fight. We've seen this when Lucas Matisse fought against Ruslan Provodnikov, and we've seen this tonight. Gennady Golovkin was very reluctant to fight on the inside with David Lemieux. And for good reason. Because one of the very few times that Gennady Golovkin went on the inside and tried to exchange with David Lemieux, he caught Golovkin with a perfect counter left hook. And Golovkin jumped back and it looked like he was slightly hurt. And that was like the only punch David Lemieux landed in the fight. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but that was like one of the only flush shots that Lemieux landed in the fight. So I thought it was a little telling the way Golovkin responded to that left hook, but overall, it was a dominant performance, a great boxing exhibition by Gennady Golovkin, and I look forward to seeing what's next. We know he wants Cotto versus Canelo, and I just have a feeling that the winner of that fight is not going to fight Golovkin next. You know, I'm picking Cotto to pull off the upset and beat Canelo, and I even think that Cotto has a shot against Golovkin, but the way Cotto has been talking when Golovkin's name is mentioned, it seems to me like he doesn't want to fight against Gennady Golovkin. Then you have the winner of Peter Quillin versus Danny Jacobs, which is a really good matchup I'm looking forward to watching. But since Danny Jacobs and Peter Quillin are with the PBC series and Golovkin is with K2 Promotions, we might not even get to see Golovkin fight the winner of that fight. So that's bad news for Gennady Golovkin, because that means the only other fight that makes sense for Golovkin, if he can't get Canelo Cotto winner, is Andre Ward. Pound for pound, the best fighter in the world today. That's the only fight that makes sense. Edeslani Lara would be a good fight as well, but the fight that makes the most sense is Andre Ward, because he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world. And fans can no longer use the inactive excuse anymore, because Tom Loeffler just recently said in an interview that they're still interested in fighting the very, very inactive Carl Froch, who is actually retired right now as we speak. So that admission that Team Golovkin just made, that killed any inactive excuses when it comes to Andre Ward. So Golovkin fans, you tell me, if Golovkin can't get Canelo versus Cotto winner, if he can't get Danny Jacobs versus Peter Quillin winner, you guys tell me who you think Golovkin should fight next. I'll be talking a lot more about this fight. We should have a really good show this Tuesday on my radio show, talking about this fight and the other fights that went down this weekend. That's all I got for right now. I'm on to the next one.